Hey, I'm sorry, was so greatly sorry. I don't know what's going on with this connection of mine.
Hey, fellas. I'm inviting Anastasia once again. Okay.
Yeah, no, it's fine. Yeah,
Really? Woo.
yeah.
So, happened for the best. We disconnected to become stronger. All right. So, you were saying, yes, about the communication at the workplace for even technical specialists.
Yeah, so I was saying that basically this is one of the not the most important maybe for the technical expert, but if you, for example, want to grow to the leadership role, for sure you cannot grow to this role without the communication skills because you need to communicate with the team, outside the team, with the customer if you are working in the outsource or outstaffing company, with different other departments that you might probably need to communicate. And this is also one of the skills to, I don't know, to find the next job or to get the promotion inside the company, because this is basically also about the communication, also the like presentation, but still like inside the company, it's more about the communication skill. Yeah. I think
Yeah,
this is one of the important skills nowadays.
100%. And actually, the title, the name of our live stream is Finding and Identifying Yourself professionally. And I think if we are able to communicate our truth, communicate our stance on certain positions effectively, that makes it so much easier to navigate through life. And by asking proper questions, understand, for example, if you're applying for a job, by asking relevant and pointing questions, right, you can understand if the culture of the organization that you apply to, right, fit you. Because a lot of people can be blinded by the fact of high salary, can be tempted to get in because they pay a lot. But what your money gonna be worth of if you hate yourself after every single day? So I'm 100% agree. Can we shift a little bit to like this topic of finding ourselves and maybe changing the career
Yeah,
path as
let's try to.
as a career coach, and maybe based on your experience, what can you say about this? How often people want to change the direction of their career, maybe in their mid 30s, things like that?
Mm-hmm. Yeah, well, basically, this depends. I think it depends on how the person was identifying his or her career path when he or she started the
Yeah.
job. So, for example, if the person was fully self-aware what he or she likes to do and wants to do, basically, then he or she selected the career that he likes and maybe will not be switching to something different. But then we should understand that it depends on our values, and our values can also shift and change to something. So if we feel that our values have some, I don't know, misalignment with what we're doing, and this is not about the company or this is not about the culture, but this is about our day-to-day job, what we're doing, I don't know, from 9 a.m. till 6 p.m., or it depends on the schedule, how we work too. So if we start not to like what we are doing, and this is a very big part of our job for sure, then the person will start thinking that he or she needs to switch. But this is just one portion. Another thing that we might think about is when the person have chosen the career that doesn't bring, for example, the good compensation level or something like that, and then he or she wants to earn more, and then goes, for example, to learn IT or something like that, because there you can gain more compensation, better benefits, better atmosphere and everything. So maybe in this regard, the person will also be eager to change something in his or her life, because this is like what do you need for living.
Yeah. And plus, flexibility can also play the role, right? Tech companies and IT companies. By the way, guys, if you are interested to learn what is the difference between the IT company and tech company, write in comments. But I'm saying that, yeah, there is much more flexibility for digital companies. And it also depends, right, on the people who run the show. But yeah, flexibility, I think, in our day and age is definitely a factor that contributes into maybe people changing their industry, right? If they were working like a legal advisory or in construction, and you can work in tech company where you basically can stay at home, right, or work from an island like Bali. So it's also a critical advantage in my mind.
Yes, it is, but you're saying this because you're a very flexible person. And
Oh, yeah.
yeah, and as psychologist, I would say that not all the people are flexible, but I think all of us understand this. And
So
for
it's a
people
value.
that are,
It's
yes,
my
and
value. Yeah.
yes,
Thank you.
yes, yes, yes. And for people who are not that flexible, for them probably they will not face this, that they would like to switch a career because it will be more difficult for them because they will understand that right now, being, I don't know, 35 age or 40 aged, I need to start my career from scratch, from the middle level or from the junior level, specialists, probably with lower compensation, everything, and then building that again. And if a person is not that flexible, probably he will not go that way.
But I would like to take a step back to what you pointed out when you started this answer, which is a crucial thing, to identify your career path. Point number one, lesson number one, right? And people who can identify what they want to do for the remaining of their lives, I think are for really lucky people, right? As like, for example, I always draw an example of Michael Jordan, who knew from the like age of 12 that he wants to play basketball all across his life. Unfortunately or fortunately, the majority of people are not that lucky, not that fortunate to identify what they want. And I think your second point, you're just hitting the nail on the head, where you said that you have the permission to change your mind. It's okay to maybe, if you're cool with what your company offers now, it doesn't mean that you can't change your mind, maybe want something completely different at some point, and therefore change the company. So I understand that maybe it's not something that we should be encouraging, right? People to change that. But I mean, in our world, I think in with the everything that's going on, it's totally understandable and could be an option. Can we agree on that?
Well, on the one hand, for sure, like me as a human resources person responsible for attention, for sure, I cannot offer people to go and look for their another career opportunity. But from my personal values that I have, I feel that the person needs to be happy because then if he or she is happy at work doing what he or she likes, he will bring more value to the company as a result. Because then, if he is not that happy, there might be some burnouts, there might be some inefficiencies in work, some mistakes, and something like that. And probably this is also not good for the company, not just for the person of feeling not comfortable with what he or she is doing day by day, but also for the company. So these are two sides that we need to think over.
Yeah. So do you want to deep dive into the challenges of changing the direction of a career, or do we talk about communication in organizations, more about building trust? Where are you going to go?
I see the comment that we have that this is really important to love what you're doing, and then it doesn't feel like you are working, and I totally agree on this.
Yeah,
So I don't
and
know, it's up to you to
it's
decide where to go.
it's actually no, I mean, but with this conversation, I think for when I prepare folks, and I still prepare, I give some individual job interview preparation, and I do mock interviews, so we kind of simulate the environment where me being a fierce interviewer who's not smiling, who's just asking questions, putting people on the spot and putting them basically in this situation under pressure. For some reason, people still perceive job interviews as, a really like an environment filled with pressure, right?
Mm-hmm.
And I think it's like a sort of, if we can just stop a little bit and talk about job interviews, because a lot of my subscribers would appreciate you sharing some insights. Like, what are some tips and tricks maybe that you can share for people whose language who's not English native speakers, but who apply to work on international teams? And I'm not talking about these, as you once said, Ukrainian there are a lot of Ukrainian companies that just have like all their stuff is located in Ukraine, but they just do activities with Western world, right? And they're truly global companies. So what would be your piece of advice for people who may be hesitant about their level of English, but want to apply and work in a European or American company? Yeah.
Mm-hmm. For sure, I would say that it's more difficult than to apply or to look for the job in Ukraine when you were just working for Ukrainian companies, because they have different policies, different mindsets and everything. But if to speak of the small steps from which we start usually, I would say that first, like, not speaking about that you need to understand what work do you like to do and why do you like to do this, because most probably you will be asked about that for sure, like why are you applying to this specific vacancy, because we have, I don't know, millions of vacancies if we go to LinkedIn or to any kind of websites with the vacancies. So be prepared, know about the company, what values of this company is. If you really feel these values are like about yourself and you like those values and you are ready to work with that, then for sure the English level, because when I was applying, when I had I don't know, like 6 interviews, I think, or something like that. But then I had the interview with the woman from, she was located in Latin America. And when I just started to communicate with her, she said, she gave the feedback then that she didn't understand me a lot because of my pronunciation. That was at that period of time. But still, they didn't decline me as a candidate. So I had further steps with different, also English-speaking management team. And before those interviews, I started to speak with myself from morning till midnight in English, just to practice this pronunciation, not to be cancelled as a candidate because of this reason. Because working in international environment, we have this like our accent that they feel, and still I have this, but right now at least my team is understanding me because I also have the international team. I mean, my team, human resources girls, and they need to understand me. So be prepared about the company, about the role. Why do you like this? If you know the values, and basically if these values are within your values. And be prepared with English as well. Probably you will also have like different tests and everything, but this is about the hard skills. And the hard skills, you can gain them, you can train and everything, but the values don't change just because you change the company. You still have them. The same as with the work that you like or that you want to do. So be about that. But I just remembered when you asked me this question, I remembered my first job that I was applying like more than 10 years ago, but still there was an international company and there was the management from France, and we had the human resources director from France, and I was super afraid to go to the interview with him, although there was a junior or trainee position or something like that. But then he just asked me, like, which flowers do you like and why? And I was, yes, like you are looking, I was, what? I was thinking you will ask me something about, I don't know, what I will be doing or why your company or something like that. So probably this is what you also need to be prepared, because Western companies are really more thinking about the values. They're more thinking on how you think and why you think this. So yes, probably there was a sense on asking me this question about the flowers, on how I will answer and why.
Yeah, that's so amazing that you drew this example, because what I'm popped up to my mind is this phrase, this quote by Simon Sinek, a guy who I look up to. He says that, guess what? Your stakeholders are people. Your customers are people. Your employers are people. Your managers are people. If business and world is all about people, why should we think that we should come up with some robotic responses, or that we consider hard skills to be our ticket to whatever company? No, if you can't communicate, if you can't tell about yourself, well, you got to start with understanding yourself, right? This is a internal talk that we have to have with ourselves. This is where the tool of reflection helps a lot, to look at yourself year ago, 5 years ago, till now. What happened? I do journaling. I have blog that helped me kind of keep track of how am I changing as a personality. But when you know what you're about as a person, what is the set of characteristics and values that make you unique, because we're all unique. When you understand that, and you can just align it with your potential organization, and if it's a fit, because you and I, we spoke yesterday about Genesis. We have a lot of Ukrainians. Definitely know that Genesis is one of the biggest employer in Ukraine, and we both had our experience working with this corporation. Their number one criteria where they pick candidates is the fit, and it goes according to the book by Jeffrey Smart called The A Method of Hiring. You can guys pull it up to check later. And a lot of companies in the US, I think they also might be following the same methodology. And fit is not like that they use the same JavaScript or programming technology that you know. Fit is all about basically values and knowing how to answer the question why, not what.
Yes, exactly. And also, if you're speaking about the communication brings you to collaboration inside, and collaboration basically inside brings you to some kind of results, and results bring you to the success.
Yeah, communication is the key. Okay, how about this question? I believe that one of the worst possible scenarios for people is to come to this realization that where maybe they don't enjoy their professional life anymore. But it's too difficult to just, rip off the bandage, just go, just drastically change everything, because obviously, especially if you're changing the industry, the pay might not match your living costs, right? So what would be your advice on how to manage your psychology, maybe, when you feel like your work no longer brings you not even happiness, it only takes the energy, and you kind of don't have the energy for anything else maybe in your life? What would be your advice?
You know, when a person comes with this request, it's the same about the relationship with the husband, for example. I will never say go and quit this job or go and get divorced.
Yeah, it's
Never
the
be.
same as hey, just get divorced.
Yeah,
That's get over with it.
no,
Yeah,
no problems.
yeah,
I will never say this because there might be different factors. Because probably when you don't feel the energy, this is, and when for sure you will start to not like going to your work, but maybe the root cause there might be completely different. Maybe you have, I don't know, some colleagues that you don't like to collaborate with. Maybe you have some personal problems. Maybe you have a big amount of stress because of the war going now
yeah,
in the
yeah.
country, or maybe because you were forced to move to another country and you are on one of the stages of adoption in the new reality, or maybe you didn't take the vacation for 2 or 3 years and you're just tired, and that's
Yeah.
why you don't want to go to the job. So first, I would not give any kind of advice, but I would ask the questions like, why
Yeah.
is that? What is the situation? What was before? What do you like to do? What was good in your job? What did you like to like
Focus
if you
on the
were doing
positive.
this?
Yeah,
Yes,
yeah,
not focus on the positive, but still trying to understand if this is about the real, I don't know, some factors that impact on the work, or is it because the real, I don't know, he or she doesn't like what he's doing anymore. So what's the reason? So I would start from this, and probably this is not even one session, because the person, what you were saying about the reflection, for sure, I ask the questions, but even you were saying you asked me one question a week ago, and I'm still thinking about this. So it's kind of the same. This is how it works. Then the person goes and thinks, and then thinks and thinks, and there goes the, I don't know, I call this personal coaching. Yeah. So he or she is still with these thoughts and trying to understand what is going on, and like
yeah,
if that's real. And also, no good psychologist would ever, or coach would ever recommend to make the decisions in the stressed situation. So you need to take the decision when you have all the factors, I don't know, pluses and minuses, understanding what you like, what you don't like, if you can change something in here or not. Because, for example, I'm living right now in Poland, and there are pluses and minuses for living in this country, but there is one minus that I cannot change. This is the weather and the absence of sun, and I love sun. So
yeah,
yeah, so then in this regard, I will start thinking like, do I need to stay in this country, or because of this I will need to move? The same on the work. If you don't like that you are doing, basically in my career I had the same. So when I started the career, for sure I had the, I don't know, junior tasks, and I didn't like some of them. But coming back to the communication, you go to your leader and you say that you don't like this part of job. If is there any way to change this somehow?
yeah.
And in my way, this was changing. So we hired another girl. We distributed the responsibilities in a different way, and I still stayed with the company.
So the mere fact of just not being afraid to go and say you felt wrong, or just something that you didn't do. The thing pretty much help you to salvage the occupation, because otherwise, if you didn't have the courage to go and say that you don't want to do this particular thing, you might be dissatisfied and burned out, right? And as a result, leave the company. So it's a good lesson that people should not be afraid to go and request, not even request, but ask if there's something that can be done with certain workloads.
Yes, at least say something, because I, as a leader, I'm talking to my team that I cannot read your mind.
Yeah.
And this is not my job. But before going and talking to someone, I would say go and talk to yourself to identify these like pluses and minuses where we were discussing before, what you like, what you don't like, what you want to change, and why. And if for example this will not be changed right now because probably your manager will say that there is no other opportunity, at the moment. Are you ready to live with this? How crucial this is for you?
Yeah.
Can you wait for another 6 months, for example, when something changes or not? So, but yes, go and talk. But first, go and talk to yourself.
But we speak about this mindset that person working in the company should employ, right? Should implement. But it's also vital to understand the environment in which the employee is in, because if there is no crystal clear leadership, if the leader hasn't facilitated his department or whatever working environment with this understanding that you can ask, because a lot of times, you see, I think I speak on behalf of people who, when they see their managers, they're not thinking about going and asking for a raise or going to ask to get rid of some load or some tasks. I think leadership has got a lot to do with creating this environment of trust and safety, so that people could feel confident that they can share things like that. Because a lot of times managers, they just care about the performance and they don't actually care what's going on in the person's life, why he's underperforming. Maybe he's under extreme pressure personally. Maybe there's something going on. Maybe he's getting a divorce or whatever it is. And I think sometimes when people see that their managers don't care at all, maybe this would be the forcing power for them to, I don't know, to not go and not have this open conversation, as you said in an example. I think it's great that you knew that you can go and talk, because my guess is that in your company you knew that it's possible, but there are some companies that are not open to this kind of conversations.
To be honest, I didn't, because that was, once again, like, I don't know, when I was starting my career.
Mm-hmm.
So at that point of view, I remember that my manager noticed that I was not that happy.
Oh, so
And she had a talk with me. Yes. And we in the companies, I don't know, in the last couple of companies I was working, we reinforce managers or leaders to have one-on-ones with their teams. Not only about the progress of the work to be done, but also speaking about the career aspirations, speaking about the personal stuff, asking the questions on happiness, whatever I mean.
Is that okay for people who got annual performance reviews, for people who are listening to us and who got their this policy of annual performance reviews, based on which they get a raise or either get a raise or not? Tell them and me, is that okay to go and ask for a raise before your performance review? Like, is that totally okay, or it depends?
Well, basically, it depends. First, it depends on the company, because some companies, maybe I will shock you now, but don't have the performance review process set up. So probably you can wait forever and this will not happen.
Yeah.
But for me as a leader also, as well as for me as an HR, when you go asking for a raise, you need to have arguments. Why is that? What are you doing better? What skills have you gained? Why do you feel what extra effort you were doing? Why do you feel you need to have this raise you're speaking about? Because I had not even one example people coming to me that I need a raise because I don't know, I rent the apartment and I want to rent the better apartment in the downtown or somewhere, but this is not about the raise based on the performance results. So when you come with this request, you need to understand, like, what value do you bring to your company, and why is that this company needs to give this to you.
It's interesting how the more we delve into the topic, the more I understand how two-folded, three-folded it is. So there are a lot of layers that you have to consider. Sometimes you think that you know all the face it, right? All the sides of the equation, but in reality, you know, without really deep conversations and asking good questions, and furthermore being able to listen, you know, what people say, and you won't be able to be like efficient in an understanding what's going on and what are your chances. So the communication is definitely the key here. So cool. So what are some things that you also do as a career coach? Maybe you can share some challenges, some things that people come to you with that you address.
I think like the top requests are connected to either not knowing what they want, like what you were saying, I hate this job, I don't want to go in there, I'm in this atmosphere. And then we start deep diving in what I was sharing, and then we have different options of outcomes. Another thing is understanding that the person is giving extra effort to the company, but not gaining the something. So the requests are like, I'm afraid to go and ask for the raise. I'm afraid to go and talk about the career progression. I'm afraid to go and take the, I don't know, additional project or something like this.
Yeah.
In other cases, like I understand that I'm stuck in this company, that I don't develop myself, that I don't know, I've been working here like
technical specialists might feel like they hit the ceiling, right? And they don't
yes,
learn
but not also technical specialists, also HR. A lot of HRs come to me with these questions, but they mostly come for mentoring, like how to switch the company, how to switch from national to international companies, because this is, once again, this is different, and there is a big stuff that needs to be done. If to speak about the HR professionals again, like if you go and ask 10 random human resources managers what they are doing, they will tell you different stuff, because this depends on the company, on the size of the company, on the processes that are in place, on the values once again, and on the owners, what they want and feel from the human resources to be built inside the company. So then, like, if this HR was doing just recruitment, for example, and some office management, sometimes you'll see even this, but wants to switch to human resources business partner, for example, he or she needs to understand the performance review process, the employee life cycle, the culture inside the organization, and all that stuff. But they cannot get inside another company because they don't have this experience and they feel stuck. So this is also about the fears, because you can always, I mean, we all started our first job without the experience, but still we managed to find a job, still we managed to be successful in the role and move further. So it's basically about the fears, maybe lack of expertise, and maybe lack of understanding, like self-awareness.
Yeah,
because you know it's
a good one.
Because it's like very difficult to go and talk to yourself. It's the most difficult conversation, because you need to be true to yourself.
And from the from communication in English standpoint, where I can see us being, so to speak, colleagues in a way, because people who I work with in the individual sessions, they seem like there's always a doubt, and it's not only a doubt if they're going to present themselves efficiently in English. It's not merely a problem of word choice, of the knowledge of the language, because knowledge of the language, we all have passive knowledge of the language. It's just a matter of, first of all, understanding who you truly are. And when you describe who you truly are, it makes it so much easier to speak, right? You don't. So language is just a continuation of your internal state, right? So I, as a communication coach, I take pride in helping people understand, like come up with the perfect constructions and making these pitches and saying the right words to perfectly describe. I remember I occasionally run courses, and in one course that I ran, it's called Elevator Pitch. There was a girl. She's doing video post production, so she's really skilled video editing kind of professional. And when I asked her to introduce herself, we took like 3 or 5 minutes, me asking questions to finally uncover her true identity. Her true identity is that she is a creator who loves beautiful things, you know? So when you start like that, when you present yourself saying, I'm a creator, and the sense of beauty is the most important for me. Can you imagine if you present yourself like this and not say, instead of, you know, I'm a video editor working for some company? Can you imagine what the difference it makes for people who also like beauty and arts? It kind of connects you to your audience the same way it connects you to your employer, right? So when you talk about your real values, you give yourself a chance to find the environment, find the people who are going to feel the same way about things, about world. And this is going to be a perfect match when you're going to feel awesome at your work and whenever it is. Yeah.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, exactly.
Absolutely. Guys, do you have any questions? Okay, we have some questions. Are there any advice for successful job interview? Yes, we did have some advice. I think maybe you just joined.
Maybe I can
Anastasia,
summarize still, yeah, because if there is the
yeah,
question, but
can you
the
summarize?
main, sure, the main advice is get prepared. Yeah, so read about. No, no. Yeah, this is super
Captain
easy.
Obvious. Yeah.
But like, if to give one advice, this is the most correct one. But now I will deep dive in that. So read about the company. What is that doing? What do you like about this company and why? And if you really do like, because you will need to work there, not for 1 month, but maybe for a couple of years, maybe longer. Then read about the values, because if you are applying to some international companies, this is really the fundamentals almost every company has. So probably they will have this culture fit interview. Then get prepared as a specialist. Also read the job responsibilities and requirements, what you will be doing, and basically understand that based on what is described in the vacancy and the job post, you will be asked the questions about, like, for example, if to speak about human resources, if they say that we need to build a performance review process, for sure, I understand that I will have the question, if you have had the task to build a performance review process, how would you build this and why, and whom you will involve in the project group and everything. So this is what you will be asked about. This is why I'm saying get prepared. If this is in English and you feel you need to practice this, as I was sharing my experience, just do this. If you can do on your own, yes. If you need the mentor or the trainer, the coach, you can for surely, for example, go to Serhii or maybe to some other coach. But also to be prepared in there. And then just in the interview, just be yourself, because you already have the expertise, you already have your values, you already have all the information about the company and everything. And you need to understand that probably they are looking not only at you as a candidate, they might probably have, I don't know, 5 candidates for the interviews. And if they choose someone, this doesn't mean that you are, I don't know, the bad candidate. This means that someone was like more fit to all the things, and maybe it's not about even the technical expertise, but maybe about the values or something, or maybe even location, or maybe just less compensation level.
That's such a powerful point, because especially when we passed several stages job interview for one company and we feel like we got it and we invested ourselves into passing this interview and they decline, never take it personally, guys. It should not break up your spirit, should not put a damper on your like aspirations. You know how I don't remember, Prime Minister of England, the most famous one. What is the name of him during the World War II? I forgot. Well, he's one of my favorite quotes. The success is going from success is going from one failure to another, filled with enthusiasm. What is the name of this guy? Guys, if you remember who was the Prime Minister of UK during the Second World War, Churchill. Thank you so much, Winston Churchill. That's the phrase by him. So never.
This was the
never,
IQ test before job interview.
Yeah, that was just an IQ test. I failed. Yeah. So and basically knowing that, that's really a nice insight, that you have to sort of foresee the questions that they may ask about the responsibilities that you have, and ask you, how would you do this? How would you implement this process? And if you don't have the answer, they will realize that you coming up with stuff on the spot, which is also possible, I think, right? If you're
Yes, and then another thing, like, be honest. If you didn't have the experience in something there, like building
Boris Johnson.
Yeah, I read this. Love him. But probably he's much younger than you think.
Okay, sorry.
Yes, I was saying, I forgot.
Yeah.
To Boris Johnson.
Oh no, that joke just cracked us up so much. Be prepared, know how to answer questions.
Yes, and be honest. If you don't have experience with any kind of the process that is in the job description, just be honest, saying that I didn't have the practice on this. But if you have a good experience, if you have the learning agility skill, so probably you will be able to learn this and to understand how to implement this very, very fast. So just say that I don't know how, but I would do this and this and this. I would read this. I would go to the training. I don't know. I would have some conversations with another experts or something like that. But still, I will take this responsibility and try to figure out what to do. Because I think I have seen very few candidates who fit the requirements of the position like 100%. This is almost impossible. So that is fine that you don't know something, but just be honest saying about this.
Yeah, and I think this is one of the, I read this beautiful piece by some American HR, and she was speaking about the red flags that kind of, if she sees that on her pile with resumes, it automatically gets you out of conversation. So one of the things that she said, like, people when they apply, they got so much irrelevant experience. Like she says, this is exactly what you just said. It's better to be honest and say that you don't have like experience related to this profession than make things up that is totally irrelevant and just wastes the recruiter's time. Yeah.
Yeah, exactly. And also we were discussing with you yesterday on some kind of cover letter that you can send, because imagine a recruiter getting like 100 of CVs and needing to deep dive in those, I don't know, 3-pagers, 6-pagers or something like that. So the person as a recruiter wants to see just the summary and to understand like if you are a good fit or not. So probably another advice is work on your resume and work on this kind of cover letter and summary of what you are good at, what are your career aspirations, what you want to do, what you like to do, and why.
Yeah, I help people with their cover letters, and oftentimes people underestimate what you said, that Western companies really value values. They pay attention to you yourself as a person, right? Not just a set of skills.
Yes.
You are a person. That's why your cover letter should be more on the human side of things, to kind of tell them like in the more, like, because you're not people. We should sometimes instill maybe some romantic things that would just, maybe this will resonate with the recruiter who's reading this cover letter, and they would feel like that's so great that you're opening it up, you're showing your vulnerability to connect, to give yourself a chance to connect with real people who stand behind the scenes of the hiring process. Yeah. Guys, do you have any other questions related to changing the career, related to fears that we have working on international teams or applying for international companies? Maybe changing the location, maybe changing the country. Maybe some of you are thinking of changing the country. Anastasia also got experience in that. But in general, it's so awesome that I see how, like, we as a unit, you and me, we kind of can, even unite and help people with, just, you can definitely help them psychologically. I can help them with communication, right, in English. So it's could be a real partnership that we will go with later.
Yes, I feel so too. And even if we were like not prepared for this, we just had a real dialogue, yeah. And I feel that it goes as, I don't know, very smoothly.
We were, guys, we were actually so frightful, so scary that this thing will go sideways, that not will go, but it's just amazing. Right before the interview, what do you do? Coffee, exercise?
Well, I would say it depends. It depends. But speaking about my last interviews that I had before joining this company and I'm working for now, so I was interviewed by the guys that are located in the US. That means that I was having the interview, as far as I remember, 9 p.m. or so. So yes, I needed a lot of coffee before to still have this energy and everything. I didn't do any kind of exercise, no. And I was training my pronunciation once again, what I was mentioning, because I had a fear. I knew that I'm a good expert in human resources and I will answer any kind of question. I don't need to get prepared for this because of the years of experience. But as soon as I didn't use the English communication level for a long period of time, so I needed to train on this. But if to speak about some fun stuff, yes, coffee. Think about the light, for example, because I had not a good light in my apartment, and I needed this lighting because it was night. It was, I don't know, it was dark, but I still needed to get the nice impression to them.
I think for me, whatever endeavor I pursue in my life, I try to not engage in it if I'm not energized, if I'm in a bad mood, basically. And that to get ourselves zone into the groove of feeling great, you have the easiest way is to boost your physical conditioning. So I don't, running, for me, running does the trick. I always feel amazing after I ran like 7, 8, 9 kilometers. But yeah, the Tony Robbins, I'm sure that you guys know about the world-class, famous welfare coach and influencer, Tony. He says he's got this exercise called priming on YouTube. He recommends it to do it every single day. And it kind of rewires your brain, sets your brain, kind of makes you, like, there are a lot of gratitude exercises that you do within this 10 minutes training. You can find it on YouTube. And when you think about people who you're grateful for, you think about, like, what are the amazing things that are for you, that you have lined up for you in the future. You start visualizing this great future of yourself. This actually, believe it or not, wire you up. And, like, so it's an amazing tool, even if you don't combine it with physical exercising. But Tony always jumps. All his world-class trainings are built on, like, both things, like shaping your mental state and shaping your physical state. And that's the path for a great interview, I think.
Yeah, another part of advice. So if you're applying for some office job and you do 7 kilometers run before, leave the time for it to take a shower.
Yeah. So not right before. Leave in the
Yeah.
morning, whatever morning means to you, because we all have different mornings. Oh, that was filled with amazing insights and data, guys. I think if you have one more question, we can take it. If not, what do you think? Did we do well? See, people feel we do well.
Yeah, it's amazing.
Yeah, guys, what's your opinion on what? Oh, you're typing, Ola. What level of English is most suitable for working in an IT company? Can you take this one?
Sure, it depends on your position, and it depends if you are working on the international environment. Because if you are working in some Ukrainian IT product company and you don't have, like, you don't need to communicate with the clients, I mean, international clients or within the international teams, so then you will not be even required to know even elementary English. But if you apply for the vacancies working for with different cultures, so for sure there will be required to have the upper intermediate level, or if this is the more junior level, we were requiring at least intermediate level, understanding that probably the majority of the communication will take over senior person or technical lead or team lead, whoever is on the team. But then within this period of time, I mean, from junior to senior, you will need to still deep dive and have a good level of English. But you can
She
still
means truly international. She means truly
truly
international, not Ukrainian.
international. Yes. Then probably once again, what I mentioned, it depends also on the seniority level, but try to get that to the upper intermediate. Yeah.
Okay, we're wishing you good luck. Yeah, she's one of our.
Yeah. Good luck for the
Your
interview.
play it cool. Play it cool. Be yourself, and yeah, and don't overthink. I think sometimes people overthink things too much.
Yes. And that, like, blocks you, and you cannot be yourself. You cannot express yourself, your experience that you already have. This is what you have. You just need to speak about this.
Yeah. All right, that's a great ending point! Exclamation mark. Anastasia, thank you so much, guys.
Thank
Thank you
you
for
for
joining.
inviting. Yes, and thank
Yeah.
you for joining and for
Cheers.
the questions.
Have a great day, everyone. Bye.